You want to know how I grew my back from this to this? Stick around in this full video. I'm going to show you what didn't work for my back and how I finally got it to grow. First thing up, what didn't get my back to grow was doing what everybody else was doing or what the top pro bodybuilders at the time were doing. So those guys are genetic freaks, and they would have grown no matter what they did. It took me a while to realize that. So I would see them doing heavy bent over barbell rows, weighted pull-ups, deadlifts, stuff like that. And of course, young guy at the time, I would try to imitate those same movements when I didn't really feel them in my back, and my back never really grew from them. It's the same thing in social media today. You guys are seeing these guys with genetically gifted backs online, and you're copying their back routine, and it may not be what works best for you. You're seeing them do these crazy weights with crazy exercise, and it's not going to be optimal for you to grow as an individual. The next thing preventing my back from getting big was just moving weight and not really connecting with my back. So what I mean is I was just doing stuff like this. I was just pulling down or rowing and not really worried about if my back was contracting. I was just moving heavy weight. And one of the simplest principles of bodybuilding to make a muscle grow is you have to feel the target muscle contracting. So I would say for about the first 10 years, or a couple hundred back workouts I was doing just like that. I was just yanking weight, rowing weight hard, just trying to move heavy weight, because I thought that's how you had to grow. When it comes down to a lot more than that, you got to keep that target muscle under tension. Lastly, the thing I would say was preventing my back from growing was I wasn't really prioritizing it, meaning I would put back training on Wednesday after I'd already done heavy legs on Monday, heavy chest on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, after my central nervous system, my body was already kind of fried, I would go in and try to train back when you don't really have a lot of effort or a lot more leftover energy to put into back. So, or even worse, when I was trying to really grow my arms as a young guy, I would train arms on Thursday and then go in on Friday, the last day of the week for me for training, and try to train back. So can you imagine trying to train back correctly when your forearms and biceps are shot from the previous day of arm training? It's just not going to be optimal for back growth. Before we move into how I actually grew my back, if you're finding this video helpful and you want to learn how to grow other stubborn body parts, subscribe to the channel. First up, how I got my back to grow. It's a 3-step process on fixing my form. So one of the biggest things on fixing your form with back training is learning how to drive your elbow toward your hip. I don't care if you're doing rows like this or pull downs, it's all about driving your elbow, as you can see in this video, toward my hip. So I'm not pulling toward my chest, that's all biceps. You want to learn how to drive that elbow back toward your hip, no matter what pull down or row variation you're doing. It's elbow toward hip. That's how your lat was designed to work and grow. Elbow toward hip, that's the first form fix. Step number 2 on fixing my form is I learned how to lower that weight back under control. And what happens when you do this is it keeps that lat engaged and never gives it a time to break. So it keeps that lat under tension. So what you don't want to do is pull down, just be yanking weight here. My lats here aren't doing anything on the way up. Now here, when I pull down, my lats are working to lower that weight down, so they're getting worked even harder. Lowering that weight under control. That's step number 2 on fixing your form. I don't care if it's rows, pull downs, whatever it may be, lower the weight under control. Last up on form fixes, I learned how to get hard contractions. So to me, this is why a lot of guys don't grow their backs, just because they never really feel their backs working. And hard contractions is the best way you can start to feel your back actually activating. So again, what I would do here is if you're not really feeling your back working, start working on just getting hard contractions. Cut your weight on whatever exercise you're doing. Cut your weight, learn to contract hard, feel that muscle working, and then every week after that, start progressively overloading instead of just every week adding weight and never feeling your back working. Start from scratch almost, lighten the weight, get hard contractions, and then build from there. Next up on what got my back to grow was I stopped following what all the top guys were doing. So a lot of people, a lot of young guys especially, what they're doing, they're finding somebody they like on social media, copying their back workout for a week or two, and then seeing somebody else's back routine that they like, copying their back routine for a week or two, and they never really find the exercise that truly work for them, because they're jumping from program to program and never finding what truly works for them. So in my case, we had magazines back in the day. I was copying what Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, all they're doing. They were deadlifting, barbell rowing, and doing heavy pull-ups. And so I tried those for about 5 years, and my back looked like garbage. Once I started to experiment with what those guys weren't doing, or not necessarily weren't doing, but weren't dedicating a lot of time to, finding the exercises that worked for me, I found my back, I connected my back 10 times better. My back really started to grow. So that's what I'd say first is find the exercises that work for you and then progressively overload those. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Find what works for you and overload those. Last up, once I nailed those first 2 things on getting my form right and learning to do the exercises that work for me, I knew I had to prioritize my back training. So what that meant for me was I would come in on either Monday or Tuesday and I would train back at the beginning of the week when I was still fresh. My mind was ready, my body was ready, my central nervous system was ready, and I could really pound my back really hard. So I would train it first off in the week, or the first or second day, and I'd also eat a higher amount of carbs on those days to really push heavier weight, more reps, the higher intensity, whatever it may be. So I would train it first thing in the week with higher carbs. Then I would come back on the second day in the week and train it with hamstrings and glutes, almost a posterior chain day. So hamstrings, glutes, back, all on the same day. So I would hit back hard at the beginning of the week, and then I'd come and almost touch it up at the end of the week with a little more, not as much volume as the beginning of the week, but still hitting it twice a week. So that's what I'd say for the third step is prioritize your back training. So here's a blueprint for how to get a bigger back in 3 months. So first off, we're gonna start with prioritizing your back training, meaning just like we just talked about, you're gonna take one of the first 2 days of the week, hit your back hard, and then you're gonna come back a second day of the week, preferably with shoulders or glutes and hamstrings, and work your back a second time. Next up, we want to find exercises that work for you. So I want you to do this. For your main back workouts, I want you to find 2 row movements. I want you to find 1 low row movement and 1 high row movement that work for you. That can be dumbbells, cables, machines, whatever it may be. Find 1 of each that work for you and stick with those for the next 3 months. Then I want you to find a pull down variation that works for you. And again, that can be wide grip, reverse grip, close grip. Even if you like pull-ups, that counts as a pull-down. So find 1 pull-down variation that works for you. Stick with that for the next 3 months. Then I also want you to find a pullover variation. So we got the dumbbell pullover, we got cable pullovers or straight arm pushdowns, whatever you want to call them. And we also have, some gyms are lucky enough to have a machine pullover. So again, find 1 of those that you feel in your back, work that in the routine. Lastly, to give your back that well-rounded look, we want to work a shrug and a hyperextension. So for the shrugs, we got dumbbells, we got Smith machine, we got barbell, you got all sorts of different kind of shrugs you can work to make sure we're working those traps. And then to wrap it up, we want to work that lower back with either reverse hyperextensions, good mornings, back raises, any kind of lower back movement. Some people, rack pulls are good. Deadlifts, if you feel them in your back, are good, but pick 1 kind of lower back movement to really get your back from top to bottom for a well-rounded back routine. And again, make sure they're all exercises you feel in your back. Lastly, for these 3 months, and just going forward in general, I want you to make sure you have perfect form to feel your back working. So that's going to involve, like we talked about earlier, we want a good elbow drive, elbow toward hip, either pulling down or rowing. We want elbow drive. We want lowering the weight down slowly, so under control to keep that back under tension. And we also want hard contractions. We want to pull back and squeeze hard, keep those lats engaged. Make sure you do all 3 of those things every rep you do on your back training to fully keep that back engaged and grow. All right, guys, that's all she wrote. I promise you, if you follow that outline for the 3 months, you're gonna see some new back growth. If you like this video, guys, and you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. As always, stay swole.